I'm going to walk you through a live demonstration, step by step, of exactly how I've been able to enroll over 3,000 clients in my own health and fitness businesses, and now how I've helped 387 other health and fitness coaches be able to grow their businesses. Some to six figures, multiple six figures, and a few to even over seven figures in sales. So the sky is the freaking limit. Now, the intention of this video is to show you what has worked for me in hopes that some of it will resonate with you. You'll be able to apply it. You could discard what doesn't resonate with you, because at the end of the day, everything works. This is what has worked well for me and for lots of other people that I've taught. What this video is not is going to be a bunch of fake value disguised as a sales pitch. So I'm here to tell you right now that if what I'm about to walk you through, these steps, this system, it resonates with you and you would like to explore getting my one-to-one help, co-creating this and helping you build this into your business, then shoot me a DM on Facebook or Instagram and I will share those details with you. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. Now, if you are a complete beginner and you're tuning into this and you literally haven't even started, you have no program, you have no offer at all, this might be a little bit more intermediate or advanced for where you're at right now. So just keep that in mind. And if you are a fluffuencer, what I call an underpaid, overworked content creator, like you don't really care about building a business. You're not here to actually help people. You're just trying to stroke your ego and get the followers and the likes, and that's all you care about. You're not our people, and this is definitely not going to resonate with you. But if you are already in motion as a health or fitness coach and you are making some money, you're signing some clients, but it's wildly inconsistent and unpredictable, and it's stressing you the heck out. Like some weeks or some months you have clients coming in, some weeks, some months, it's complete crickets. I'm here to show you exactly what has solved that problem for me. Also, if you value having freaking fun and just being yourself and growing your business around your story, your message, your unique gifts, your zone of genius, and you're tired of freaking trying to put yourself in somebody else's box, you're tired of the whole aggressive, I'm going to DM 50 people a day type thing, you're tired of like having a business model that doesn't feel like you, I'm going to show you exactly how to mold this into your own self. So you can have fun, you can keep it simple, and you can operate in your zone of genius around your story, around your message, because that's the most important part. For some context, let me show you where it all began. It started in 1986. I come busting out the womb. No, I'm just kidding. But for the last 13 years, I've been growing businesses. And in fact, I left the fire department in 2012. In 2009, I was electrocuted in a house fire. I was doing a search and rescue. And this is what got me into fitness in the first place, because at the time I was 53 pounds overweight and we were responding to this house fire and we were doing a search and rescue because there's people supposed to be trapped. And I got electrocuted in this fire. I was in the hospital for 3 days. And the moment that really changed things for me was this doctor that was treating me. He was like, son, you're lucky to be alive, like right now, for sure. You have a second chance, but let me tell you, you're way too young to be this unhealthy and this out of shape. And so I knew I had to lose some weight. I knew I had to make a change. And so I did. I took that as a second chance. I got myself healthy. I got myself fit and then I started training my crewmates, and I realized how much I loved helping people in this fashion. Because as a firefighter, you're helping people sometimes at their worst, right? You're seeing people at the worst of the worst. So I wanted to make a change in people before they got there. And so I ended up retiring from the fire department in 2012, and I became a personal trainer, and I started to do everything, like in-home training. I worked at LA Fitness, a big box gym. I trained everybody imaginable, from kids, people with disabilities, to elderly, to everybody in between. And I really discovered who I liked helping. So I started to go run in boot camps and started to take my own personal training clients on, and that ended up growing. And so I started my own fitness center. So I took an abandoned hockey rink in South Florida, and I turned it into South Florida's first and only fully equipped outdoor gym. We had everything from barbells, kettlebells, I even built a Ninja Warrior gym out there. And this is 2015, 2016. Sorry, this is even early. This is 2014 to 2016 is when we were really building. And over the course of a few years, we grew that thing to a base of 300 clients. We served thousands of people out there through front-end offers, challenges, and memberships. And we ended up attracting investors. And in fact, there was this one guy in particular who was the husband of one of our members. He was like, dude, I'm down to put some money into this. And so him and I put $80,000 in. And there was these guys that kept coming to the gym, these bougie franchise guys out of Miami. And they were like, we can help you franchise this and take it around the nation. And so we invested in the franchise, and I started to go out there selling gyms, just like Ray Kroc was selling like McDonald's. So I was out there running two businesses, selling franchises, and then also trying to keep my own gyms, my own fitness center afloat. And really quickly did I realize that this was a bad decision. And so this is now 2016. I am $45,000 in debt. I had to take out loans and credit cards and all these things just to try to keep my businesses afloat. And that my daughter, my firstborn, I have two kids now, my firstborn, Ava, was born then. And I just remember, man, like being so stressed out. I had less than no money. I was negative. I was in debt. And my wife's carrying everything on her shoulders at this time. And I just remember being like, something's got to change. So after a couple of years, we had to cut our losses with the franchise. And I had to think of another way. And so I remember a few days after my daughter got home from the hospital, I'm sitting in front of my fitness center in my truck in the parking lot, just freaking crying, if I'm being honest. I just felt like a terrible human. I was like, I can't even support my family. What am I going to do? And I remember a voice from above, I felt like, just came in, and I had this like gut feeling to just go and start speaking and to start moving more into the online direction. So I started, this is right when Facebook Lives became a thing, around 2016 or so. I started going on Facebook Live. I started going to speak at local nutrition stores, at my local chamber of commerce. And one of my friends on Facebook saw one of my videos, and she was like, hey, I think you would be good to come on this TV show called, it was the Health Channel in Miami, and they were running a segment, and they were like, you'll be perfect for this. And so I went down there nervous as all can be, and I ended up doing it, and I started to build confidence. And so I went live more and more. And during this time, I launched my online fitness business. And so this is right around probably, 2019. We're still running the gym. I got the gym back profitable. And then I went all in on I started going all in on the online. I was starting to sell the gym, and I had people interested in buying it. And it was right at this time, a lot of things happened. So because I built my confidence on camera and speaking and over the last year or so, I decided to go out for a dream of mine since I was a kid called American Ninja Warrior, which is a TV show on NBC. Long story short, after lots of failures, I ended up getting on the show. And the producer on the show was like, dude, as I asked him, I was like, how can I make this easier for me to get on to the show from now on? And he was like, he told me one thing. I'm going to share it with you in just a second, but he told me one thing that truly helped not just me get on the show, but it also helped me with my online business endeavor, is you're going to see how closely these things are related. And so I ended up going fully online. We almost were about to sell the gym. And then guess what happened? 2020 happened. COVID came. All the people that were interested in buying our gym pulled out. And so I was like, I have to go fully in online. So we ended up launching it completely. We had launched it in 2019, but we were using it as supplementary income, not full income. So I went all in. We ended up doing an 11K launch. And within that first 12 months, we signed up around 100 clients and did multiple six figures in sales. But the thing was, it was so stressful, man. Like some weeks, so I had built a team, right? I had an assistant coach. I had somebody helping me with sales calls. I had people helping me with appointment setting. I had VA agencies. I had the whole gamut. And it was stressful because I had this team to pay. And some weeks I would be at 27K. Other weeks I'd be at 3K. It was just all over the place. Some weeks I would have a calendar full of sales calls. Other weeks it would be completely freaking empty. And it was so stressful. I was like, I got to figure this out. And so lo and behold, I was thinking back to two lessons that I want to share with you. And then we're going to start to unpack the system, the steps that I personally have uncovered over the last 13 years. But the first thing I remembered was back in franchising. I remembered that we had to build an operations manual, which is basically like an instruction manual for how to grow one of these businesses. And I was like, I need to have systems in place. If I don't have systems, how can I create predictability? And it was like a freaking big aha moment. And so remembering back to my mentors helping me build out this manual, I started to apply some of those same things to how I was doing content, how I was selling, and I started to create more systems. The second big thing was what this producer on American Ninja Warrior told me. He was like, how you communicate your message and how you communicate your story is the difference maker that gets you chosen on the show or not. And I also found that to be true with how we're doing content. And when you communicate your message in a way that like connects with people, that influences people, and you could tell your story in a way that helps bridge the gap between where your ideal clients are and where they want to be, it starts to help more people want to work with you. And so these two big ahas helped me grow. And then I went all in and our business just skyrocketed. So much so that I had other coaches that were in masterminds that I was with. They were like, dude, show me what you've done. And like, how are you growing so quickly? And I was receiving all of the awards and the recognition and all of these masterminds and programs, and people started to recognize me in the industry. And so I had one guy, his name is Leo Judkins, still amazing human. He came and he was like, dude, just show me what you're doing. I will pay you. And so I ended up taking him on as a client, no program, just helped him co-create it. And he ended up going from around, he was like bouncing between 1 and 10K a month. He ended up getting to 16K the very first month, then 26K, then I think 34K, and then he's just crushing it nowadays. This is years later, he's crushing it. And then I helped another guy, and then word started to spread, and we ended up with this new business consulting marketing offer that I was helping people with. We ended up doing $140,000 in 6 weeks. So I was like, I think I'm onto something here. People were raving about it, and so that's what got me started into what I'm doing now. Okay, so just a little bit of context between here. And at this point, this is an older image, we've now helped 387 people with this process that I'm walking you through. And so the first thing to understand here is, and I'm going to walk you through two different parts. The first thing is, what kept me stuck around 5, 15, 20K per month was what I was told to do back then. It was like post every day, DM 50 to 100 people a day, just basically copy what's trending and hope it all leads to clients. And it works to a degree, but like what worked back in 2019, 2020 isn't working in 2025. And the reason is simple. Number one, the market's more crowded. The market's more sophisticated. People have seen the same old messages and tactics and things being shoved down their throats for the last handful of years. And so there's less trust in the market, but that opens opportunities for people like you and me that are like value driven, that are more authentic, that can actually show up and just be able to overcome all of the sleaziness that's currently out there. And so what I want to walk you through right now, first I want to show you what's really going on so you can see. Information itself is a commodity. As per Google, like analytics, there's over 1.1 billion pieces of content being published every day on social media. So it's like you're trying to get your message seen, but there's 1.1 billion posts being published. You can't just post on social media and just expect like a flood of clients to come in anymore, right? Plus, what I've seen doing this for long enough is your audience is confused, even if they don't say it, right? They're not sure how you're different than your competitors. Your message is blending in with every other coach. And I see too many people still teaching. They trend in one direction. Either they're like posting too much connection and engagement content and they're building up followers, but they're not monetizing them. Or they're on the other side, they're teaching too much and people like them, but they're not converting people into clients, right? And so this ends up causing people to chase leads, burn out, and revenue becomes unpredictable. And this is Leo, who I mentioned. This is him just telling me how much I changed his business and how transformational it's been. And so what I want to walk you through is like the actual step-by-step system. I told you I'm going to give you a demo. Here's the demo. And so if your content isn't generating consistent leads, if you feel like you're working hard but you're staying stuck, it's not because you're lazy or unmotivated. It's because the system you're using is flawed. As we said, this is the cycle most coaches are in. They're posting more, hoping somebody reaches out. They're DMing 50 strangers a day. They're trying reels, giving away PDFs, giveaways, freebies, challenges, and they feel like a coach by day but content creator by night type feel, right? So they burn out, they're stressed out, and they repeat the process. This is the old way of doing things that it may have worked okay, back in 2019. I'd even argue that, but it still worked. I got clients doing this, but it was exhausting. And worse, it's ineffective in today's market because there's so many more people online. So what you need is a new system. And so this is why I created, for me, the In-Demand Coach OS. This is the system that I have used to help now over 300 coaches attract more leads, sign better clients, and many of them go on to grow between 10, 20, and 30K per month, some even way higher than that, without grinding or chasing people. So here's how it works. The first step of this process is what I call the magic messaging makeover. So this is my fancy way of saying like how to dial in the right words in the right way to the right people, so your ideal clients say when they're consuming your content that that's me, I need this, and they're compelled to reach out to you. So pay attention to this because your words are either attracting or repelling people. Most coaches are using generic Me Too type messaging that blends in, and when you sound like every other coach, you get ignored. The kind of analogy I like to use is like, imagine I went to China and I was ordering Chinese food, but I didn't speak Chinese or Mandarin or whatever. I just spoke English. It would be frustrating. Like, I would know what I'm saying, but they wouldn't understand what I'm saying. But if I could speak Chinese, magically I can communicate their language and I can magically order Chinese food with a lot more ease. That's how messaging is, right? The weaker your messaging or the more saturated, you might know what you're saying, but on the other end, it's not connecting with them. It's not influencing them. And so it becomes much more difficult to get people to do what you want them to do. Reach out, opt in, respond. But when you can magically speak their language, all of a sudden, you're able to get more of the right people to raise their hand, to respond to you, to opt into your stuff, right? So in this phase, the step, it's about crafting messaging that makes your dream client say, wait, are you in my head? It's pulling out the real pain points and secret desires that that people don't publicly talk about. You have to know your person so well. And it's about crafting a big idea or unique solution so you stand out in the marketplace. Like when you could do this with clarity and confidence and conviction, you could become the go-to coach in your sub-niche, right? This is why I've had people that have 100, 200, 600, 700,000 followers, but they're barely making any money from it, and it's sad. Or I got people like Trianka, who I've helped in the online fitness space. She had 6,100 followers, and she was doing consistent $30,000 months. The difference is her messaging. The truth is, the only way you're going to get and I'm belaboring this for a reason because it's so important. This is like the foundation. This is why if somebody is they're like, I'm eating healthy, but they're eating 600 calories a day, what difference does it make? They're not going to get the results. Like your messaging is like the calories to your marketing plan, to your content, right? You could say the wrong thing to 1,000,000 times and people won't buy. But if you say the right thing in the right order to the right people, sales start to feel more effortless. And this is just a screenshot of Trianka being like, holy crap, you changed my life and my business. And we largely helped her with her messaging and her content system, right? And so this is a bit of how it looks. We need to unpack all of this. And this is what I help co-create with people. I help them do this on a one-to-one Zoom session with me in their corner, helping them. But we want to start to unpack things like, here's a phrase that I want to leave you with for this section. If you can articulate your dream client's problems and pain points and symptoms so well, they'll automatically assume that you have the solution. So getting to the nitty-gritty of how specific you can get with the symptoms, the pains, the complaints, everything that's going on in their world, and getting specific to what they actually want, that dream outcome, the aspirations, and then having a belief that you need to shift. So if people believe their genetics are keeping them overweight, how can you shift that belief and get them to believe what you need them to believe in order to buy? Russell Brunson talks about the domino belief. There's many versions of a domino belief, but you've got to have something. And one of the easiest ways to do this is having a big idea or a core solution, unique solution that you can bring in. In my fitness business, I was helping people lose stubborn belly fat. That was my go-to skill. And so I created what I called the stubborn fat solution. That was my big idea. And it was all about teaching people how to eat right, not just healthy. And so I was able to shift people's beliefs into that, and that helped my business grow tremendously. Today, I have this whole in-demand coach operating system. This is the big idea, the unique solution I'm bringing into the marketplace. I can't even talk. I was going to say accumulation of my last 13 years in helping hundreds of people, built into a system that I can make repeatable. This is how my brain works, and I assume other people's brain works like me. They like to operate off a system, off a Lego instruction manual. Does that make sense? And when you can unpack all of the messaging, the hidden motives, all the influence stuff, then you plug that into your content, it starts to convert. Does that make sense? So the second step is going to be what I call a strategic content ecosystem. Once your messaging is right, we then want to build your content system. And the idea here is we want it to work 24/7. Most coaches are stuck in that post and pray, right? They're just like spray and pray out value, and they're hoping that it works. They'll put out a promo, hope it works. I used to do that too. These days I do it differently because I've learned that it's all about predictability. So this phase is about you want to design a weekly content strategy designed to drive DMs, not just getting likes. And there is a difference. Knowing exactly what to post and why, so that each piece pulls in qualified leads. You want to build content that gets seen and converts, right? And to do this, like, it's about posting less, just posting the right stuff. And I'll give you some examples in a minute, okay? And this removes the need for daily posts, cold DMs, or paid ads. Like, paid ads are a bonus. Like, if you have content working, like, you could put money behind it to get more eyeballs on it, but it shouldn't be like the only way you're relying on getting stuff. And so this is literally how I use what I call a content ecosystem to draw in dream clients. I like to think about it as the Bermuda Triangle. The legends say that between Puerto Rico, the Bahamas, Bermuda, and Florida, like, ships and all this stuff get lost at sea. We can actually do this in our own marketing. And so how it looks is we have 3 different points. We have a main social channel, right? This is our top of funnel. We have an email list, and we have a YouTube or podcast. And our whole goal is to build the list. That's the entire purpose of the system. And so when you're under 5 clients a month consistently, what worked for me is being able to just use one social channel like Facebook or Instagram. I've used Facebook for years, and then an email list. So all I do is I post really good content on Facebook to drive traffic and DMs, and then I repurpose my best content to email, and I'll have offers in there. That alone, that scaled me to hundreds of clients, just doing that. Okay, once you're over 5 clients a month consistently, I found that adding in a YouTube channel and podcast, I've been doing this for years, it's a nurturing channel. It's a long-form nurturing channel. Google and Meta echo this, but Google recently did a study that showed that on average, people need to consume 7 hours of content before they're ready to make a purchasing decision. Now, what most people are doing is they're doing reels and short-form captions and written posts and stuff on Facebook or Instagram, and it takes a long time for people to consume 7 hours of content. And so when you can introduce long-form content into the mix and you can strategically get your top-of-funnel people to see it, right, by promoting it, by sending it to an email list and promoting it in stories and stuff, you're going to get a heck of a lot more people to buy from you because you're speeding up that nurturing process and you're delivering more value than most of your other competitors, okay? So that's a bit how it works. And this is just an example of how I use it, right? Main channel, take my best content on email. I do about 1 long-form video every single week that gets repurposed to my podcast. And then throughout the week, I'm trying to get through different types of content. I like to post connection content. It might be lifestyle. It might be my personal story. It might be values or beliefs of mine. And then I'm taking like influence content where I'm shifting people's perspectives around commonly held mistakes, objections, and beliefs. I'm sharing authoritative content that shows like social proof, or that's me walking through and giving somebody a demo like this. Or I'm doing conversion content that's like a masterclass or a workshop or a promotional cycle that I'm running, okay? And so that's how that works. And then to create predictability with inbound lead flow, we do this. We run a conversion content campaign. This is going to start to break into the conversion process, but what I've learned is creating a system around it. So back in 2019 to 2021, I went live every single day. You can ask my wife, even on Sundays. I was relentless. And then I quickly learned that to get people to consume my videos, I would need to post and promote them. And so this is where I invented. Let me just be real. I actually got this concept from a guy named Jeff Walker, who invented the concept. He had a book called like Launch or something like that. And I basically took that concept and I plugged it into this, right? So I'd create really good posts that had awesome hooks and awesome calls to action, and it would get people interested. Then I would do some kind of like live training or workshop, get a bunch of people on. I would make a very soft offer after giving tons of value, and people would buy, right? And then I would just build a nurture list, DMs, meaningful conversations, get people on calls that make sales. And I would do this about once or twice a month, and this helped me predictably convert. This is one of the main things that Kurt Rollins said that helped him. He was very inconsistent. He just wanted to get to consistent 30, 40K months, and he was able to do that. And he actually was able to buy a new home and move across, I don't know, like a little bit across the country. He actually temporarily retired his wife, and so it was one of the main things he said to help him. And then to put glue to this, there's something that I call micro VSL, or core conversion content. And this is where we're taking like one video, right, that we're making our core asset to our business that we can use as a pre-selling mechanism, right? This is what creates pre-sold leads. And so what I'm doing is I'm having a really good hook. I'm sharing my story to build connection. I'm shifting a belief. I'm introducing people to my way and how I do things. And then I'm showing social proof, and I have a light call to action, right? And then you can use that. Basically, I create a lot of my conversion content around this one core asset. Once the system is set up, it cuts down on content creation time. And for me, it takes me about 2 to 3 hours a week to create content. And we also have this, what I call a content writing ninja. This is a GPT. And this is something that I actually help all my clients build out. So it writes content in their authentic voice. And it helps massively cut down on content creation time when you can build one of these. And this is what I show a lot of my students how to build. So a weekly flow is you could post 4 to 6 times on social media. And as you're creating, think about whether these topics link well to assets you already have. A lead magnet, training videos, micro VSL. Take your best content, repurpose it. Have different offers that you can have in there where you could drive traffic to micro VSLs, YouTubes, and workshops. This will help you just book way more calls. YouTube, I have different things inside of our program. I'll show you right here. So we have different levels in here: monetize, scale, and impact depending on how many clients or how much revenue somebody's bringing. And so in our level 2, I teach people how to do the YouTube funnel, right? But the whole goal is prioritizing belief-shifting content over generic how-to. About once or twice a month, I'll run a free masterclass or low-ticket workshop. I do free, like I always tell people, free when you're newer and still building your audience. Once you have demand, like a lot of demand for your stuff, then you could charge for it. And we're just running a conversion content campaign, as I showed you, leading up to it. And then usually every 4 to 8 weeks, we're opening up our core offer as a promotional cycle. So that's how that works. So the last 2 pieces here is going to be what I call the value first conversion. So by this point, if you're following along at home, the first step is all about getting your messaging dialed in. Say the right words in the right way to the right people, plugging that into a complete content system. I just unpacked it, okay? I could do a whole video just on the systems alone, but I'm trying to give you a good overview here. Now that leads are flowing, because this is something that I learned a long time ago, but the weaker your marketing, the harder the sales. The stronger your marketing, the easier the sales. And so when your messaging and content are doing the heavy lifting, you will have more inbound leads flowing. And so now you want a sales process that feels human, not just hard. So I teach people how to turn conversations into clients without pressure or pretending to be somebody you're not. I don't even have an appointment setter in my doing anything for me. It's just me in my inbox. I have a VA that helps, but nobody it's all me. Nobody pretending to be me. And so this phase is about selling through value, not convincing, creating a buyer journey that builds before the trust before the call, gives you the optionality to be able to close into DMs or through voice notes if you prefer, or even on short triage calls, or creating content that sells for you so people show up. So here's how it looks. Usually in level 1, if you're under 20K per month, I recommend just getting on a strategy call, right? Talk to interested leads, get them to apply a lead nurture system like I'm talking about with the content, book a call, send them your micro VSL so you pre-sell, and it's just so much easier. Typically in level 2, when you're already doing at least 20K, I like to sell through workshops. I invite leads to workshops, I'll make an offer, I'll sell in mass, and then the workshops become assets. Level 3, if you got your marketing, your sales process dialed in, I show people how to create offer docs with awesome copywriting, and you could just sell through the DMs, right? This is one of the things that helped Patty go from basically under 10K per month to 20K months. Is she started to do a lot of master classes, building a lot of trust with her ideal clients. She would make an offer, and she actually built a waitlist program for a faith-based weight loss program. She had 30 women on her wait list waiting to get in, and she was able to sell 11 spots really easy. Okay? The last piece here is going to be what I call scale and freedom. So this is one of the biggest lessons I had to learn once I'm getting clients is you didn't start your business to feel busier than you did in the 9 to 5, right? This is where you want to clean up your back end so you get time back. So in this phase, it's about delegating what's dropping quality, simplifying your offer, tech, leveraging AI, your fulfillment process, using SOPs and systems to scale without hiring a 5-person team, and reclaiming 10, 20, maybe even 30 hours a week, depending on how much you're doing, while your business still grows. And so for me, I typically have a virtual assistant. That's all I have right now. At times and seasons, I've had an assistant coach. And then buying back time so you can step back into your zone of genius. So when I work with people, I literally just give them my exact SOPs because I've already built them all out for our types of businesses. So that way they can save hours of time and frustration. And then I have a GPT that I show them how to use that they can literally take my SOPs, use the GPT, and they can have their own SOPs to hand off to a VA within minutes versus what used to take people days or months to create. So that's that. So when the OS system isn't about post better content, right? It's about saying the right words, building the right systems, convert with authenticity, grow with freedom. This is what makes a coach truly in demand. And so some real life examples here. Chris Feekins, still a client right now. Just in Q1, he signed up 44 clients, 17 in Jan, 17 in February, 10 in March. And right now we're building out predictability for him so he can like rinse and repeat this stuff and he's in the diabetic weight loss space, but on repeat. Emily Murphy, she was struggling to get over 10K. We helped her do a Facebook group launch within running one of these content campaigns, and she was able to grow, as you can see here. We've even worked with bigger brands like Mike Westerdale, who have millions of subscribers. I've worked with their YouTube team and helped their YouTube team basically convert more through their content. People like Olivier, we helped him get to 80 clients in his business. He was doing like 16 to 20K, and many more. We have hundreds of testimonials. If you want to see them all, you can go to www.indemandcoach.com/success. And there's a whole page of videos and things that you can see. So yeah, this is the system. And so what to do now? Again, if you want my help, hopefully you found this extremely valuable when we were walking you through this. If you would like my help and want to explore what it looks like to get me to help you co-create this, I have 2 different options. I literally have a one-to-one co-creation where we hop on Zooms and I will build out all of the stuff with you. So we basically take my zone of genius, attach it to your zone of genius, we create magic together. Or I have a more of an inner circle option to where if you prefer not to have one-to-one, but you want to be a part of a group, you can get on the calls with me. You can get inside of our school community. And we all have people in here that will ask for feedback, and I'll come through here and audit, posting videos, all of this stuff. And then one thing that I do with all of my clients is roadmap, is I'll create them these custom roadmaps, basically Lego instruction roadmaps with projects and how to scale up levels. So I'll create these projects for people, so that way it's like they can literally set themselves with the goals, how many leads they need, and then I show them exactly what to do. And I break it down into steps, so it's really easy to like mess this up. It's like impossible to misunderstand. And so if you want my help in any way and you want to see the details, just shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you hang out, and just say the word co-create, and I'll send you the details. All right? I hope you found this extremely valuable. And as always, get out there. Your message matters. Your story matters. And it's time to build a business where you could not only change lives, but make enough money to have the impact and the freedom that you deserve. Bye for now.